students, in this video we are going to start second chapter, improper integrals. Okay, in previous chapter, means in Riemann integration, we have seen the integrals are defined for bounded functions over bounded closed intervals. The object of this chapter is to extend the definition of Riemann integral, integration from a to b f of x dx, to integrals over unbounded intervals for functions which are unbounded at each point in the finite interval of definition. Okay. Here there are three types of improper integral: improper integral of first kind, improper integral of second kind, and improper integral of third kind. But in this chapter we will discuss only these two types: improper integral of first kind and improper integral of second kind. Okay. Now see what is improper integral of first kind. See here, integral is of the type integration from a to b f of x dx. Okay. So keep in this mind, if this b is equals to infinity or a is equals to minus infinity, but f is bounded at each point of this interval, then we say that integration from a to b f of x dx is called improper integral of first kind. What is the condition? B is equals to infinity or a is equals to minus infinity, but f is bounded at each point of the interval. Okay. For example, see here b is equals to infinity. Condition is that b is equals to infinity or a is equals to minus infinity. Okay. Here b is equals to infinity. Here f is 1 upon x square. This function is bounded at each point in the interval 1 to infinity. See here, if we put here 1, we get 1 upon 1. Means at point x is equals to 1, this function is bounded. If we put 2, 3, 4 and so on, at that point also this function is bounded. So this is an improper integral of first kind. Again, this is also example of improper integral of first kind. Why this is? Here b is equals to infinity. If we put 0 here, we get e raised to 0. This is 0. So at point 0, this function is bounded. Similarly, you put 1, 2, 3 and so on. At that point also your function is bounded. So e raised to minus x is bounded for all x's belongs to closed at 0, open at infinity. Okay. Similarly, this example is of a improper integral of first kind. Why this is? Because here b is equals to infinity and this function is bounded in this interval. So this example is also of improper integral of first kind. Okay. Now see next definition: improper integral of second kind. What is that? If a and b are real numbers, but f is unbounded at some point in closed interval ab, then we say that integration from a to b f of x dx is called improper integral of second kind. Okay. For example, see here, a and b are real numbers, 0 and 2 both are real numbers, but this function is unbounded at point 1, which belongs to closed interval 0, 2. Means a and b are real number, but f is unbounded in closed interval ab at some point. So this integral is of kind, this is a improper integral of second kind. Similarly, see here a and b are real numbers. Okay. But if we put x is equals to 0 here, so we will get this function is unbounded. Means what? A and b are real number, but f is unbounded at some point in closed interval 0, 1. Therefore, this is a improper integral of second kind. Similarly, see here, this is the interval from minus 2 to 0. This function is unbounded at minus 1, and minus 1 is belongs to closed interval 0 minus 2. So a and b are real numbers, and this f is unbounded at minus 1 in closed interval minus 2 0. So this is the improper integral of second kind. Now see the definition of improper integral of third kind. Okay, if the integrand is defined over an unbounded interval and the integrand is also unbounded at some point in the unbounded interval, then integration from a to b f of x dx is said to be improper integral of third kind. See here students, this integrand is defined over unbounded interval. Obviously this interval semi-closed at 0 and open at infinity. This is a unbounded interval, and the integrand is unbounded at 0 in the unbounded interval. So this is the improper integral of third kind. Okay, so we have seen definition of improper integral of first kind, improper integral of second kind, and improper integral of third kind. Okay, now we will see convergence and divergence of improper integral of first kind. See students, let f be a Riemann integrable for every s greater than a, and we have in previous chapter we have seen what is Riemann integrable. Let f of x is equal to integration from a to s f of x dx be its indefinite integral. Then integration from a to s f of x is said to be convergent to a if this f of s tends to a as s tends to infinity. So integration from a to infinity f of x dx is equal to limit s tends to infinity f of x is equal to a. If integration from a to infinity f of x dx does not converge, then integration from a to infinity f of x dx is said to be divergent. Okay. Now see examples. First example is integration from 1 to infinity 1 upon x square dx is convergent. We have to show that this integral is convergent. Okay. Now let f of x is equal to this. F of s is equal to what? Integration from a to s f of x dx. So integration from a to s f of x, here f of x is 1 upon x square dx. Say here let. Okay. Solve this integration. Integration of 1 upon x square is minus 1 upon x in limits from a to h. Sorry, here a is 1. Okay, this is nothing but minus 1 upon s minus becomes plus 1. Upper limit minus lower limit minus 1. Okay, this is nothing but 1 minus 1 upon s. Okay, this is our f of s. Next, integration from a to s f of x is said to be convergent if f of s is converges to a. Means what? We have to find limit s tends to infinity f of s. Here f of s is this. So limit s tends to infinity f of s is equal to limit s tends to infinity 1 minus 1 upon s. This is nothing but 1. Okay, therefore we can say that integration from 1 to infinity 1 upon x square dx is convergent, and integration from 1 to infinity 1 upon x square dx is equals to 1, because limit s tends to infinity f of s is nothing but integration from a to infinity f of x dx. Means to check improper integral of first kind is convergent or not, for that first write down f of s, then find out limit s tends to infinity. If limit s tends to infinity f of s exists, at that time we say that integration from a to infinity f of x dx is convergent, otherwise it's divergent. Okay, this is the first example. Now see next example. Integration from 0 to infinity e raised to minus x dx is convergent. Okay. Let f of s is equal to, what is integration from 0 to s e raised to minus x dx. Okay. Solve this integration. Integration of e raised to minus x is e raised to minus x upon minus 1. This is from 0 to s. Now put upper limit, so we will get e raised to minus s, means this is minus into e raised to minus s minus, because of this minus sign, minus minus become plus, e raised to 0. So we will get 1 minus e raised to minus s. Okay. Now find out limit s tends to infinity f of s, which is equals to limit s tends to infinity 1 minus e raised to minus s. Okay. So as s tends to infinity, this can be written as limit s tends to infinity 1 minus 1 upon e raised to s. Okay. As s tends to infinity, this value tends to 0, so this is 1. Means limit s tends to infinity f of s is exists. So we can say that integration from 0 to infinity e raised to minus x dx is convergent and converges to 1, or we can write integration from 0 to infinity e raised to minus dx is equals to 1. Means what? Integration from 0 to infinity e raised to minus x dx converges to 1. Okay. Students, here write down one note. Write down note below this example. If integration from 0 to infinity e raised to minus x dx if alpha is constant, then integration from a to infinity e raised to minus alpha x dx converges if alpha is greater than 0, and diverges if alpha is less than 0. Okay. This is very important note. You can apply in solving examples. So keep in mind that if integration from a to infinity e raised to minus alpha x dx converges if this alpha is greater than 0. In previous example, we have given integration from a to infinity e raised to minus x dx is convergent. Why this is convergent? By using this note, because here alpha is 1, so which is greater than 0, that's why this integral is convergent. But if we take integration from a to infinity e raised to x dx, suppose here take 1, e raised to dx, this can be written as integration from 1 to infinity e raised to minus 1 sorry, minus into minus x. This x can be written as this. See here students, here alpha is minus 1, which is less than 0. That's why this integral becomes divergent. Okay? Means if you know this note, then you have to need to apply definition and check the convergence. Okay? It is simply depends on just alpha. If alpha is greater than 0, then your integral is convergent, and if alpha is less than 0, then integral is divergent. Okay? Let us see next example. Third, integration from 1 to infinity 1 upon root of x dx is divergent. Is divergent. Okay? See solution. Let f of s is equals to 1 upon, integration from 1 to s 1 upon root of x dx. Solve this integration. It is from integration from 1 to infinity. 1 to infinity. This 1 upon root of x can be written as x raised to minus 1 by 2 dx, which is equals to, so integration of x, integration from 1 to infinity x raised to minus 1 by 2 plus 1 upon minus 1 by 2 plus 1 from 1 to infinity. Okay, this is nothing but x raised to 1 by 2 upon 1 by 2. This is nothing but 2 into root x. This is from, here is s, s 1 to infinity. So here is limit from 1 to s. This is equals to 2, upper limit is 2 root of s, take 2 common, 2 root of s minus root of 1 is 1. So this is your f of s. Now find out limit s tends to infinity f of s. This is equals to limit s tends to infinity 2 into root of s minus 1. As s tends to infinity, this tends to infinity. Okay? Or this becomes infinity. So limit s tends to infinity f of s is infinite. Therefore, integration from 1 to infinity 1 upon root of x dx is divergent. Is divergent. Okay. Let us take fourth example. Integration from 1 to infinity sin x dx oscillates. Solution. Let f of s is equal to what? Integration from 1 to s sin x dx. Okay. This is equals to integration of sin x is minus cos x. It is from 1 to s. So this is minus cos s. Put upper limit minus. Suppose take this minus sign common. So minus in bracket cos s minus cos 1. So this becomes cos 1 minus cos s. Now limit, apply limit on both sides. Limit s tends to infinity f of s is equals to limit s tends to infinity cos 1 minus cos s. But as s tends to infinity, as s tends to infinity, cos s does not exist. So this total limit does not exist. Therefore, it oscillates. It oscillates. Okay. Let us take one theorem. If integration from a to infinity f of x dx and integration from a to infinity g of x dx are both convergent, then integration from a to infinity f of x plus or minus g of x dx is convergent and integration from a to infinity f of x plus or minus g of x dx is equals to integration from a to infinity f of x dx plus or minus integration from a to infinity g of x dx. Okay. See students, what is this statement of this theorem? If integration from a to infinity f of x dx and integration from a to infinity g of x dx are both convergent, then integration from a to infinity f of x plus or minus x g of x dx is convergent. Means what? If two improper integral of first kind are convergent, then their addition and subtraction must be convergent. And integration from a to infinity f of x plus or minus g of x dx is equals to integration from a to infinity f of x dx plus or minus integration from a to infinity g of x dx. Okay, we will stop here. Thank you.